Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about a deck that might annoy you and maybe even you hate playing against it. We're going to be talking about Snorlax Stall here on the channel, and as far as it goes, Snorlax still seems to be competing regardless of what you think of it or what you don't like about it. Snorlax was able to accomplish 2 of the top 8 spots in the biggest regional event in the history of Pokemon TCG in North America, which was San Antonio Regional, and just so happens to have one of our Shuffle Squad players on it, which was Cal Connor. So in today's video, we're going to be covering the full list and all the texts that were included in that, as well as show you some gameplay. Now, before we hop over into the video, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors that help make everything possible, not only here, but all of the other awesome content that is provided by the Shuffle Squad. So if you want to help us out and also help out the channel here, you can go ahead and take a look at all of the links down below in the description, and you can also even use some of our affiliate codes to save some money on some awesome Pokemon product. Well, that's enough for me there on our sponsors, but we're going to hop right into that video for you next. Alright, so taking a look through the list here, we can see that the Pokemon line is pretty simple, right? We have 4 Snorlax, which obviously has the block ability, going to stop your opponents from retreating. Then we have the Rotom with the instant charge ability, which is going to draw 3 cards and end your turn. Now, these are pretty much staples in the list, so nothing crazy here that we're going to have to take a look too deeply into. And we do have the Pidgeot V, which also seems to be a staple. Vanishing Wings is really good. Not only is it a V Pokemon that you can put the 4 Seal Stone on and put back into the deck to have 2 extra cards so you don't deck out, but it's really great because even if you start it and are able to retreat it, you're able to get it off the board pretty easily so you don't leave a 2 prize liability hanging around. Now we do have the Mimikyu V, which is a really nice card to have here for things like Miraidon and also even Chen-Pao sometimes, just because to get around something that can't be attacked by Vs or EXs is really good in a lot of situations. So we do have that as basically our 5th Snorlax in air quotes, but we do have something to block Pokemon from attacking, which is really nice. Now, what Cal did here is Cal actually took out the Crabominable V that I know a lot of lists were playing and actually put in a Spiritomb in the list. Now, me personally, I had a Mawile in my list, so we can also block here, but Spiritomb is really good, especially for those decks like Mew, VMAX, and basically anything that plays Lumineon V, because now any abilities from basic V Pokemon aren't going to work, so it shuts off the Genesect V, it shuts off the Lumineon V, and even opposing decks like, Charizard EX, or maybe just a Snorlax Mirror, you can shut off those instant charges or the Pidgeot V from being able to get off the bench. So Spiritomb really good in this situation. I still like Crab in a best of 1 format, but Spiritomb definitely did its job and put in the work in this list. Supporter line is pretty straightforward. We've got the 4 Arven, 3 Pennies, so you can pick your Pokemon up. Arven's really good here too. Now, you do notice there's only 1 Battle VIP Pass in this list, and that's because you always want to go second with a list like this. You definitely don't want to go first because then it's harder to find your Battle VIP Pass, and now it's harder to get your Pokemon out on the field. Going second will allow us to get into our Arven, and also if you notice down on the list, we play 4 Pokégear 3.0, so we can find those Arvens and go in and just get the Battle VIP. Going down the supporter line, Cal did choose to put 3 Ionos, where I know personally I only had the 1, but 3 Ionos really works here, so you can reset your opponent's hand, maybe reset your hand to 6 new cards, and just keep on trucking. Now we do have 3 Misfortune Sisters, really good at milling your opponent. We do have 2 Boss's Orders, just in case you can't find your Pokemon catchers. 2 Erikas to look at your opponent's hand and maybe put a Pokemon that they don't want down onto the bench, then swipe it up active and lock it there. So that's really good. Now Avery's really good. Avery is a niche card that we will lose, unfortunately, to rotation, but good right now. And the reason is that Gardevoir players are learning how to play against Snorlax Stall, where Gardevoir was pretty much a free matchup most of the time because they have 3 Pokemon they don't want active, and that's Manaphy, Radiant Greninja, and also Jirachi now in the list. So all three of those Pokemon we want to wait for our Gardevoir opponents to have in their hand. You can then Avery their board if they set up with all Psychic Pokemon, and then you can use things like Erika's as the secondary turn to get those Pokemon from their hand down onto their bench and into their active. So Avery's really good here, but it is a niche situation. Now, other niche cards like Giacomo or Giacomo, however you pronounce it, is going to be really good for Mew because they are going to put multiple energies on the field, and then you can get those off. And then Sidney for things like the Giratina decks holding Jet Energy in hand. We can look at that hand. Maybe they have Path to the Peak there. We want to take those out with Sidney too. Now, one note on Peonia is you do want to use that either after you've used Hisuian Heavy Ball, or if you know that you don't care what's in your prize cards. I say that because Peonia can look at 3 of your prize cards that you select and put 3 cards back in your prizes in any order. Now, if you use Hisuian Heavy Ball after you've used Peonia, then you have to shuffle all 6 of your prize cards again. Now you're losing the spot where you put those cards back in. My favorite thing to do is use Peonia on the first 3 prizes that I see, and then put those back in an order I want, then use Peonia again later in the game to look at the other 3. Then I'll use my Hisuian Heavy Ball, or I will use my Hisuian Heavy Ball first to get it out of the way, and then start using my Peonia. So you do want to do it in that order, just that way it saves you some trouble having to figure out what your prize cards are all over again. Now, Cyllene's really good here, obviously, as recovery, and we want to make sure that we recover our things like the Pokemon catcher, or counter catcher rather, and also our Pal Pads, because we do need to get our supporters back too. So definitely don't want to miss out on that. Now, we do have the Team Yell Cheer, just in case we do miss our Cyllene flips. We want to be able to put that back in, and maybe we can put things back like our Misfortune Sisters too, and just recycle those so we're milling our opponent. So Team Yell Cheer is really good. Going down the line, not anything too crazy. We do have the 1 Super Rod. We've got 3 Bravery Charms and 1 Luxurious Cape, which is really good on a Mimikyu too, because most of the time if your opponent has a single prize attacker that can attack into Mimikyu, then you have Luxurious Cape to make that a big beefy 170 hit points, or sometimes you do have to put it on a Snorlax to make it a 250 hit point monster. The big brain play here for Cal is actually swapping out some of the stadium counts. I know most lists were running 3 Temple of Sinnoh. Now we've changed it to 2 Temple of Sinnoh and 2 Pokemon League headquarters, which I really love League headquarters. I think it's good in so many different situations. Even if Giratina is going to try to shred, you make them have to find that extra card. If Miraidon is going to use Zapdos, you are going to have to force them to find that extra lightning energy to attack with it. So I think Pokemon League headquarters is really good, especially if Lost Box becomes a bigger meta call. I think that those are just something you're going to want to pay attention to. So that's the list. We're going to go ahead and test this thing out on the ladder. All right, we're going in with the coin flip. We're going to see if we win the coin flip. We do, and this is really important because we get to choose to go second. So we don't want to go first. We're going to go second, see what we get in our opening hand. What we really want, the optimal hand, is going to have an Arven in it and Battle VIP Pass, but those are looking pretty good. 2 Snorlax and a Mimikyu, not terrible. So I think we're just going to let that ride here and see what we draw into. I also am curious to see with Togepi what our opponent's going to have. So this is, you never can tell with the Squawkabilly EX. It might be a Roaring Moon. That's what it's kind of looking like. Oh, 3 items, yikes. Battle VIP Pass. So our opponent's cooking right now. We've got Battle VIP Pass going in to find some Pokemon. It looks like they've got Vessel, and that's exactly what it is Roaring Moon. Now, I did see in round 10, Cal actually played this exact list against a Roaring Moon deck, and it was pretty funny because I was seeing the lines as they were coming down on Cal, just stomping them into the ground, just making them squirm to get out of the active spot. So let's see if we can make that and recreate that moment here with this list. All right, it looks like they're getting a secondary Roaring Moon. Not able to retreat the Squawk ability is also pretty bad for them, but they do play quite a few switching items. I know that they've got the cross switchers, and they also have things like just Switch Cart, Escape Rope could be in there too. So we definitely want to go in with Misfortune Sisters. Now, if I rip like 3 switch items off the top here, it's going to be hilarious if we can make that happen. So let's see what is going on their board. We're going to check their discard pile. None left. So all 3 dark patches have been used. None in the discard pile. There's the 1 switch. So we do see that Mew EX coming up here. Interesting why you'd promote Mew EX, even though that can't get out of the active spot. But you know what? Here we are. So genome hacking, I guess, could copy this collapse. It does put Mew EX to sleep, but it does knock this out. So another thing that we have to keep in our mind is having the league headquarters in the deck could be really good, especially if we're not able to draw cards. Now, the other thing that we could do is we could try to find another Roaring Moon EX in their hand, or maybe they play the Moltres V, something like that. If their only attackers are going to be these V or EX Pokemon in play, and they did bench lock themselves, so that's really good, then Mimikyu is going to be really, really good, even if, you know, we got Frenzied Gouging that can knock out some Pokemon. I don't think it really matters that much. I think that they're going to be in a spot where they're going to either have to knock themselves out, or they're going to have to find a way around this Mimikyu here. So, wow, top deck Arven, that's absolutely insane. We're going to go in here, and we're going to use Battle VIP Pass. Let's see if we got our Forest Seal Stone. We do. Everything is good here, so that's fantastic. We're going to go in Battle VIP Pass. Let's get our Rotom. Let's get our Snorlax and put those into play. We can also go ahead with another Snorlax, and I think what we're going to do is we're just going to put a Bravery Charm on that benched one. Not use the Pokégear. It's not ours. We're just borrowing it. Or I'm sorry, the Pokestop, and go from there. So let's see if our opponent can find a switch item and just start drawing. I know that they don't play too many draw supporters, so let's see. 1, 2 are already in there. Chances are they might have one other draw supporter that's not Sada, and they have 3 Sadas left in the entire deck. That includes their prizes and whatever's in their hand there. So Avery, pretty good that we didn't put down our other Pokemon. It must be my Snorlax intuition here. And then let's see what they get. Okay, so they do play Pal Pad. That's kind of neat. I don't hate the idea of playing Avery and Pal Pad in this list. They're still not able to get out of the active even after drawing 3 cards. So, you know what? Genome hacking is not doing a whole lot here for them. So we could even force Seal Stone and force them to find an extra energy because all of their attacking Pokemon are basics. And from the looks of things, this is the non-water build, which means that Greninja isn't necessarily active. Now, they could be just baiting me here, seeing only dark energies and not any water energies. And there we go, Pokestop, not finding anything. So they're doing a little bit of self-mill here. So I think it's good for us to just kind of sit back, relax, and Misfortune Sisters into something that we really want. Hisuian Heavy Ball isn't it, but we get to look at a couple other cards. They do have Double Turbo. That's something different. Morpeko, we don't really care about Morpeko here. And we're just going to instant charge and see what we draw. All right, we do get the league headquarters. And we do get Temple of Sinnoh. Now, I could just be funny and put Temple of Sinnoh to bump this Pokestop. And then they're not necessarily doing too much after that. They are going to take out my Rotom, unfortunately. So, still think we're fine. I think that, you know, holding the Forest Seal Stone, we could always Pidgeot Forest Seal Stone, call it a day. They don't know that we play league headquarters, so that's another thing that can happen. Let's see, they are just going to Calamity Storm. So they can, you know, Frenzied Gouging for a knockout here. But all of our Pokemon are big and beefy, so they can't really do that if I counter catcher them up. See what we draw? We do have Arven, so let's go ahead and counter catcher this thing up. And then we can Arven. And what Arven's going to do for us, let's get another counter catcher. And let's get another Bravery Charm. All right, and we'll go ahead and we'll just end the turn here. All right, they do play Switch, which is not cool. I don't like that one bit. So we're going to go ahead and see them use another Pokestop. And that means that they're going to be able to hit us for 220. So not a great matchup here. I think that they are going to put the 1 energy there. That's totally fine. They will be able to knock us out, but we do have counter catcher. Still fine. So Calamity Storm. That's 2 stadiums down. Still okay. They still have to find another switching item. Let's see. Pokemon League headquarters could be nice right now. We'll go here. Do this. Bring this thing back up. Put the Mimikyu down, I think. No, Mimikyu would allow for a retreat if they have boss's orders. We're just going to end the turn. That seems fine. Let's see what our opponent draws here. Not too much going on. You still need extra energies on each one of these Pokemon to accomplish the attack. That's another thing that we have to focus on here is, are they going to be able to accomplish that attack? So now they're just kind of stuck. What would be nice is if we could find a Sisters, mill some items off the top of that deck. They do only have 3 prize cards left, so it's starting to get a little scary because we definitely don't want them to attack with the Mew EX at any point. But you know what? Here we are. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do is we're just going to, well, we can Avery. That would be kind of funny. And see what they do. And go from there. So let's just leave it as it is. You know what? We'll use Hisuian Heavy Ball first. Let's take a look at our prizes. We've got the Snorlax. We've got a Sisters, a Sidney, and another Arven there. So that's pretty fine. We can still put this other Snorlax down here and hit the end turn button and see what we do. So not only do they have to find some sort of switch out, but they also have to find extra energy because of this or a stadium. They continue to add energy here. We can always boss's orders this up and get it out of here. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and let's just find our Misfortune Sisters. We'll go in with this Pidgeot V, use it, use Star Alchemy, and now we're just going to kind of cheese on them a little bit. We're going to get this other Misfortune Sisters. We definitely don't want them to draw into anything. We'll hit this, rip the Vanishing Wings, put it back into the deck. Seems good, right? We'll Misfortune Sisters, see if we get anything. Oh, only the 1. They do have Path to the Peak in the deck, so that's not great. Yeah, I think that we're just going to end the turn, see what happens. Not drawing cards isn't great, but we're still doing some things. We're still stalling. They really only have 7 more turns to accomplish their goal of winning this. So we'll see what they actually do. Let's see. They're just going to pass it over to us. Not too much there. Let's put the... You know what? Let's try Erika's. Let's see what they got in the hand. So they've got Moltres, or Pecco, boss's orders. You know what? Let's put the Moltres down. I think that that's funny. There's no way. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to put 2 of this Misfortune Sisters back in just in case. If we can buy ourselves an extra turn, let's do it, right? Might as well try to Misfortune Sisters into 1 or 2 of their cards to just mill them just that extra little bit. So there's a more Pecco, still totally fine. Not exactly sure what Boss's Orders is going to accomplish now that they've taken my Rotom out and we don't have any other Pokemon that they can gust up. So, still kind of stuck. Maybe they're trying to draw into one of their Pokemon. Alright, Team Yell's Cheer is fine. So we've got that. Everything's good to go. We're going to end the turn. And here we go. They'll still probably try to put Path to the Peak into play. Interesting. They've got the Boss's Orders. Not really sure what they're going for there, but sure. We don't want to use Iono yet, so we'll go ahead and just end our turn. We've got 25 cards left in the deck. We get to see what is happening here. Erika's Invitation, we're just going to end the turn real fast. And now you can see the speed part of this deck coming into play. Now it's all reliant on our opponent. There we go. Let's just go straight into this. And Misfortune Sisters. Do we hit anything? We hit nothing. That's totally fine. So let's hit end turn. Let's just end our turn again. And yep, here we go. Not much our opponent's doing from here. Just drawing cards, kind of waiting it out. They got Path to the Peak in play. Still totally fine. Double Turbo Energy. They can't retreat. Not really sure what they're doing there, but let them do it. Here we go. I mean, I don't really know what they're going to try to do, but let's, you know what? Let's end the turn and see what they have. They've got the one special card at the bottom of the deck. Probably not, right? Probably not. What are they going to do? Iono us? Boss? Sure. Go ahead. And then we just pass it back to our opponent, and that's really going to be all that we need to do, and that's how you win the game with Snorlax versus Roaring Moon. Alright, we're calling the coin flip this time. It's tails, and we did not get to win the coin flip, so hopefully we bait our opponent mentally into choosing to go first. So let's see if they actually choose that, and we'll find out what they're going to be playing, and we can kind of tailor our game around that. Now we'll put Snorlax in the active, and hopefully they've got a supporting Pokemon that they don't want in the active just to start out the game. Now we do see Ralts, so this is a little bit trickier of a matchup, especially if somebody knows how to play against us. Let's go in here and do the Pokégear. We're going to have to play Arven to find our Rotom next turn with a Nest Ball and just go from there. So hopefully, you know, Gardevoir doesn't have the tendency to donk people. Just hoping that that's the case here. We don't want to put Spiritomb down. That's a liability for us. We don't want them to get out of the lock. They can just go ahead and Teleportation Blast. But if we can find something quick enough, then we won't really have a problem with locking up these Ralts. We do have to make sure that we just play into them not having a Pokemon in their hand. And there's an Iono, so that's fine. None of the cards we actually needed this turn, so that's good too. Do have another Snorlax, so that's good. Nest Ball can still get Rotom. All of this is fine. Alright, so Teleportation Burst, putting the other one into the active. Silly, but also fine. Let's go here. Now we can use another Iono and draw way more cards than we ever thought we could before. Let's just go ahead and play Temple of Sinnoh. We'll put the counter catcher at the bottom of the deck too. Draw 6 fresh new cards. Try to get closer to our Erika's Invitation. That's exactly what we need. Let's look at our prize cards first with our Hisuian Heavy Ball. There is a Pidgeot V. We might need that later on in the game. But one Iono is not so bad. Giacomo, not bad either. Avery could be something we want, and the counter catcher. So let's at least get the Pidgeot V and reshuffle our prize cards. Still totally fine. Put another Rotom, or sorry, another Snorlax rather, into play and instant charge. And there's our Battle VIP Pass that we needed the first turn, but we didn't get. All right, our opponent is going to start drawing some more cards and just hopefully not drawing into their Mirage Step Kirlia if they're playing that. And hopefully just not putting a whole bunch of Pokemon on the field here. So we don't want that to happen. Fog Crystal getting a Zacian V. That's still pretty fine because we play Mimikyu. And we don't really care too much about that. So I think that what I'm going to attempt to do is maybe we can Cyllene early. We really wanted a Sisters here. And let's see. Okay, there's the Avery. We made sure that we only had 3 on our bench. Still pretty fine. I'm hoping that they don't have rare candy. And there's just not the Mirage Step Kirlia. They're going to draw some cards. Drawing cards is good in this matchup. We want them to draw more cards. And we also want to make sure that they maybe put some Pokemon in the discard pile. So Refinement here is going to draw some extra cards. They're going to try to hopefully dodge our Erikas for anything that's in the hand here. And we'll see where that gets them. So, all right, going in with the Guardy. This thing can hit us for a little bit of damage. Seems okay. They can retreat and hit with the Guardy EX, which is something I definitely didn't want them to do. But that's completely fine. All right, if they are going to put 1 energy here, they will only have... they will have 3 in the discard pile. So it's something we have to note here. We can go ahead and try to gust up the Zacian V potentially next turn, and they're just going to attack with a Kirlia. A very interesting line of play. We'll see what happens there. So since Avery is fine, we can go ahead and just get we can get another Snorlax, put it onto the bench just in case we get Iono'd, because chances are we will get Iono'd at one point throughout the game. We're just going to put a Luxurious Cape on this Mimikyu. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and instant charge this turn. We don't really need to use too many things, but now we at least have a counter catcher so we can bring this Zacian V up. And hopefully they get a couple more cards in their hand this turn. They'll probably try to Iono us, which is good. We still don't have Erikas, but they are going to be able to slap us for 30 over and over again if that's their game plan. I definitely can understand it, and there's a worker that they're discarding. They don't want to get the Temple of Sinnoh out of play for some reason. There's the big Guardy. That's a little scary. And then we can see them Shining Arcana. Now, if they do choose to go ahead and put this 1 energy here, that's fine. But they are getting the Luxurious Cape out of here. They don't want us to see that for the rest of the game. Interested in if they're going for Temple of Sinnoh or the Luxurious Cape, which we can find out if they know how to play the game or not. And it looks like they might not. So we're gonna just bait them for the rest of the game and see if we can get an Erika's into play at one point or another, and just try to get Pokemon out of their hand onto their bench. That's the name of the game here. Professor's Turo is a real thing, but if we can mill their Pal Pad with Sisters, that's going to be the not necessarily prize map, but just the map of the game is probably going to be where I'm thinking. So there's the Pal Pad. Pal Pad's gone. Unless they play double Pal Pad, which is... that's different. Alright. They've used Arcana. 1 in the discard pile. So we can gust the Zacian up. Kind of trap it there for a few turns. And I'm okay with that. Brainwave for a knockout. Still fine. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to buy a turn with Mimikyu V. Hope that they don't have Boss or the Rotom. And go in here, pull this out, put this down, play down a league headquarters, so they need something extra. Let's take a look at what they've got in their hand here. So Sidney, TM Evolution, we'll just get that out of there. They don't have much going on here. And let's go ahead and we'll just instant charge. Why not? Seems good. Now Arven is really good because we can Arven for the Forest Seal Stone, hold that in hand, and then, you know, maybe get another counter catcher and do this all over again. As long as they don't retreat and then knock out this Mimikyu to take 2 prize cards. So that's something else that we have to consider here too. They do need at least 4 energies to attack with Zacian, and now they don't have any refinements in play. So the only way they're getting energy into the discard pile is if they do retreat manually and attack, or they Ultra Ball away energy. Now we do have Erikas, which could be really funny if they just Iono'd themselves into a Pokemon and then we're able to Erika that back onto the board. And I mean, based on what I'm seeing from this list, means like we're probably going to win the game. So pretty funny. Psychic Embrace. We got 1 energy there. Let's see what else they're doing here. Roar of the Sword. We can stop them from getting energy onto our Pokemon. They are going to be able to retreat here, so I don't want that to happen. I guess we're going to have to go for a Penny play. We might have to go for a Penny play, so let's see if we could do that first. No. I think we're going to have to Arven. And the reason is I want to get our Switch Cart, and I want to just get a Forest Seal Stone for the following turn. We're just going to switch this over here, go in with this Snorlax, put some Bravery Charms on our things. We don't want this to get knocked out from Guardy. And we can still Nest Ball for Vanishing Wings and end our turn. So let's do that. Let's end our turn. Now Zacian can't retreat. 2 energies are on it. They can Roar the Sword to attack the following turn, but I think we're still kind of fine. I think we can Erika's next turn and try to be okay. Like I said, once we're able to accomplish an Erika's, you don't want to blow the Erika's too fast. We don't want to do that right away. Let's get rid of this extra Snorlax, I suppose. And we'll go from there. So extra Snorlax gone. We got 2 Snorlax in there, so we do need our Rod at some point in the game, and that's a lot of cards. All right, Ultra Ball this away. Okay, so they definitely didn't go in deep enough where they want to Ultra Ball away a Pokemon, which is good because we still have Echoing Horn as a play. So they're playing around it. Chances are Mirage Step's there, so Screamtail. Don't know how they're going to be able to accomplish a Screamtail, but we'll see. Screamtail's still going to need 3 energies at least on it to do the attack. Can slap for 1 energy though. Still not able to retreat. So there's Zacian, Roaring Sword, or not Roaring Sword. Storm Slash. That's the attack. That's the attack name. If you didn't know at home, Storm Slash is going to be able to get it to the point where it's going to do some damage. Now that doesn't necessarily count for anything because they are ahead in prizes, but they are going to be able to attack for at least 150 damage, which is still a pain in the butt. So let's first use Erika's. And we do get a Ralts. Let's see the other cards in their hand. They've got a Counter Catcher, and another Curlia. So let's still bring this thing up. And you know what? We'll just call it a day, an instant charge here. So we do draw our Pidgeot V, so that's really good too. I think the mill should start here. I think Misfortune Sister is really good for us right now. And Shining Arcana is going to come into play. Let's see if they get at least 2 energies on this thing. We've got to start counting the energies. There's 3, 6, 7, 8 of the psychic energies in play. No Pokemon in the discard still. So we're just being cautious with the moves that we're making and counting our opponent's energy, counting their discard pile, making sure we're cautious of all points on the field. We need to know what's in our discard pile. We need to know what's in their discard pile pretty much at all times. So let's go ahead, and they're just going to concede because we have the lock starting to establish and they know that they cannot recover from that. And there you go, we saw the full list in action. We saw how good it was against these meta decks, or maybe rogue decks too. We got to see how Snorlax could just put the pounding on these Pokemon and block them out of the game. I really, really love this archetype because I love alternative win conditions in the game of Pokemon. And if you love decks like this and you like the content that we provide here, you can definitely help us out by liking and subscribing, and comment below what you thought about the list and what tweaks you might make going forward as well. I love answering the comments on our YouTube channel here, and thank you so much for watching this video and sticking around to the end to do so. So if you did like Snorlax Stall, you hate Snorlax Stall, let us know. We'll be covering a lot more competitive decks here on the channel going forward. That's all I have to say. One more time, I'm PJ here with the Shuffle Squad, and we will catch you next time.
Hey trainers, tired of having too many cards lying around? I know that feeling, and I know what a hassle it is to try and sell those cards. But selling bulk is now easier than ever with TCG Bulk. Find tons of potential buyers in a single place. You just download the app, look for the best buyer near you, and carefully pack your bulk, ship it, and you get paid. It really is that simple. Turn the cards you don't want into the cards you absolutely need for your next deck. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.